What's up, everybody, and welcome to Around the NBA Playoff Edition presented by the Ultimate Sports Show. I'm your host, Manny, along with my lovely co-host, Medina K. Medina, how's it going? Are you excited to talk NBA basketball?
Ooh, I'm super excited. I'm doing great, Manny. Thank you for asking. How are you doing? How have you been with these NBA playoffs so far?
They've been wild, and I'm
I
loving
know.
every second of it. Especially, I know what game you know I'm going to talk about. The game on Friday that I was excited about. We're going to get to that in a second. Well, more like
Oh.
maybe a few minutes. Well, either way,
All right,
let's get this show on the road.
let's do
So,
it.
first we're going to recap the first round. So, first game I want to get into is the Miami-Milwaukee game. Now, that had to have been the biggest shocker of the playoffs by far. That's how you know it's the biggest shocker. I'm starting with that one. 8 seed against a 1 seed. How many times, Medina, has this happened? I think the only time I can think about that happening was when the Warriors eliminated the Mavericks back in 2007. I think that was the last time I remember that ever happening, an 8 seed eliminating a 1 seed. That's crazy.
It's crazy, Manny. History's being made this year with these playoffs. It's so exciting to watch, though.
It is. And one guy that actually did carry in that series, a guy that I love in the NBA. I know I'm a Trae Young guy, but I also love Jimmy Butler. And he went off. I think he broke like a bunch of records for scoring. I think he had like 38 points that he averaged, which was probably like, I think it was higher than even when Michael Jordan averaged when he was on the Bulls in the
That's
playoffs. That's what's even
crazy.
crazier. And now they're in the second round. We're gonna get into those matches later on in the show. But another matchup we gotta talk about is a team that Miami already faced in Game 1, the New York Knicks and Cleveland Cavaliers. Medina, that was an absolute shocker as well. I said the Knicks were gonna win that series, but I didn't expect them to win in 5 games. I thought the series was gonna go all the way the distance. But Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and Josh Hart really showed up in that series. They really, really did.
Yeah, props to the Knicks. I'm happy to see how far they've come. And now that they're up against Miami, I'm not gonna lie, as I want the Knicks to take it all. I want them to be the best playoff team in the East. And knowing Miami Heat and knowing how Jimmy Buckets has been just breaking records, I don't think the Knicks are gonna take it this round. Unfortunately, I think Miami Heat, they want it more. They're showing how badly they want it, and as much as like I want the Knicks to win, I'm kind of happy for Miami too that they took Game 1 today, just because a lot of people, this has been a hot topic, especially right now, with how the Lakers and the Heat have been playing. A lot of people want to talk down about the bubble, Manny, like
Mm-hmm.
they want to say like the Heat, they had an easy ride, the Lakers especially had an easy ride, but it comes to show just how great these two teams are, because I mean we're not in the bubble anymore, and yet
No, we're
here's
not.
the Miami Heat making the second round, beating the Knicks, and then here's the Lakers making it to the second round, defeating the number 2 seed in the West. So it just comes to show how much these teams are. They're just playing their best basketball, how badly they want it. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I love this series. I love how different the playoffs look this year with the different teams that are included. I'm happy for the Knicks. I hope that this Miami series is going to be a great one. I hope it goes to like Game 7, just because like it's exciting to watch these two teams play and see how far they've come.
Absolutely. Personally, you said the Heat are gonna win that series. You said.
I believe the Heat are going to win it. I think they're going to win it in Game 5 or 6 at least.
Whoa, bold
But
prediction.
I want it to go to Game 7. I want the Knicks to have a chance to win it.
I'm gonna say Knicks in 6, just because I know they dropped Game 1. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that later when we talk about the second round. But the thing is, I just find that MSG crowd is just so intimidating, and the New York
Mhm.
fans. I've been to New York 5 times. They are crazy for basketball. So like the thing is, I just find it's gonna be very very hard for them to crowd. Even though they managed it today, props to the Heat for doing that. And Jimmy Butler didn't have like I don't think the greatest game in the world, but he still played great. But the fact that also Julius Randle not being healthy, is that also a reason why also you're taking the Heat because of Julius Randle's health?
That and just yeah, like you said, Jimmy Butler didn't have that great of a game today, but it just comes to show that the Miami Heat, I feel like they just want it more. Like the team kind of just picked themselves up today. And imagine if Jimmy Butler did have like one of those crazy games like he had against the previous teams the previous team he went up against. Like that just comes to show that once he's playing his best basketball, he is going to dominate the Knicks, I feel like. And I'm not hating on the Knicks. I think they have a great team, but I just think the Heat want it more than they do.
Well,
That's
yeah,
my
of course.
prediction.
I see why you think that, because Miami is the 8th seed. They have so much to prove, and they had to win 2 play-in game. They had to win. They had to play a second play-in game in order to get into the playoffs. Because originally, if they were going to win their first play-in game against the Hawks, they were going to be a 7th seed and go up against Boston. I think they might have lost that game on purpose, just because Milwaukee would be an easier matchup than Boston. That's my theory. I don't know about you.
I mean, there's a lot of theories we could talk about. There's a lot of things we can say, but this playoff series has just been a shocker to me overall. Some of our predictions have come true, some of them not, and honestly, it's just every step of the way that this playoff series goes, I'm here for it. I'm loving it. It's exciting to watch. It's exciting to see. Obviously, I'm rooting for my team. I'm happy they made it this far, and I'm just trying to live stress-free until Tuesday night, and just trying to enjoy these other basketball games that were on today. But yeah,
absolutely, and we can't wait for all those games after. Either way. Also, the next series we're going to talk about in the first round, the easiest series in the first round, honestly, Philly and Brooklyn. Now, that series we kind of knew. I mean, I don't think a lot of people were going to think that we're going to sweep Philly, but I said they were going to sweep because Brooklyn did fire sale their whole team. They got rid of KD and they got rid of Kyrie. But Mikal Bridges played well in that series nonetheless. So we got to give a shout out to the Brooklyn Nets for that. But we knew that Philly was going to dominate in that series just because Joel Embiid, guy's a freak. The guy's an animal. Like, we know he's probably going to win MVP this season. Sad thing is, if you're a Sixers fan watching this, I'm sure you're sad to know that, and if you haven't heard yet, that he's doubtful for Game 1 because he's still dealing with his injury that he had in Game 3 of the first round. But fairly easy series. Not really much to talk about in that series. Just that Philly played well, and shout out to Brooklyn that they even made it after making all those trades to fire sale their team.
Yeah, definitely. They did put up one heck of a fight for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Who else is left to talk about in the first round now?
Well, we got a bunch of teams.
I know. I feel like we covered most of it already, but I think it was Clippers and Suns. Now
Well, we have one more team in the East.
Oh, right.
It's okay, Matia. There's so many teams to talk about.
There's so many teams to talk about.
Yeah. The last one in the East is Boston, Atlanta. And obviously, shout out to the Atlanta Hawks that they actually pulled the upset and won that first play-in game, because who would have thought they were going to be a 7 seed? I had them beating the Heat in that play-in game, but honestly, for them to be a 7 seed was huge. And man, did they put up a fight against Boston, because a lot of people are having Boston as their favorites in the East, and they actually pulled it to 6. And in that Game 5, my man Trae Young went off. He literally hit a game-winning 3 half court at the TD Garden. Not many people have great moments at the TD Garden, and he actually did that on the parquet floor in Boston. So shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. I think, in my opinion, we're gonna get to this. I think eventually when we do our off-season show, I think Atlanta needs to make some trades in order to tweak that roster to make it better. But honestly, shout out to Atlanta, and Philly and Boston are going to be one hell of a first-round series. I think that's one Eastern Conference series that will go to 7 and will go to the distance.
I completely agree. I see that game going to Game 7, and I'm praying that Philly takes it in Game 7.
Same here. It just sucks if Yeah, I know. Screw Boston. As Laker fans, we have to say that. Screw Boston. But obviously, like I said before, if you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan, I feel bad that you're not going to have Embiid that first game because as Laker fans, we would want you to win that. But that's no hero there. So now, let's get to the Western Conference.
Let's do it.
Denver, Minnesota. Now, hear me out. If you're a Timberwolves fan, yes, you might have made the worst trade in NBA history to get Rudy Gobert, and a lot of people on Twitter like to clown you. I'm one of them that did clown you at one point. But mad respect to you guys. You played really, really well against the Lakers in the play-in game. Really, really, really well without Rudy Gobert, and you ended up winning that second play-in game going up against the Denver Nuggets after. But Jokic is another animal. He's basically like Joel Embiid. He's crazy good. He's up there as one of the best centers in basketball. So basically, that's the thing. Like when you have a guy like Nikola Jokic, it's gonna be hard to stop. And also, shout out to Jamal Murray. It's been 2 years the guy has not played basketball. He is finally back in the NBA, and he played terrific in that series. But also, Anthony Edwards played well too for Minnesota, and I think that kid's gonna be a future NBA star. He's 21 years old, and he's averaging like 28 a game, like with ease, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm happy for Jamal. It's like he never stopped playing. It definitely made it one interesting series, and I know I've said this before, but I'm kind of disappointed in Timberwolves. I felt like they were gonna put up more of a fight, and it's kind of sad how they made all those trade moves just to get Gobert, and I didn't really see that much effort on his end. I was kind of hoping that the series would go a little bit further, but they didn't want it that bad. But shout out to Denver for advancing to the second round. I'm happy for them. It's good to see them back in the playoffs with a healthy roster, and it's going to make it a fair game once they go up against. Well, they've already gone against the Suns, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that soon. We have like 3 more series to cover for the first round, but honestly, spoiler alert for that, they played great against the Suns, honestly. But speaking of those Phoenix Suns, in my opinion, this might be a hot take to say, but probably the easiest series in the Western Conference because of injuries to the Clippers. Phoenix and the Clippers. Now, Kawhi was playing in Game 1, and Paul George, but the thing is, they just flat out quit. I mean, obviously being a Laker fan, I'm happy that the Clippers aren't in the playoffs anymore, obviously, but the thing is, to be a realist as an NBA fan, they just quit. Like, they could have played through their injuries. People want to say what they want to say about Anthony Davis, but at least he actually tries to play through his injuries. Kawhi and Paul George need to be held accountable. The media has to start doing that, but they don't do it. But honestly, about the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they've been looking like a really good duo. Really, really good duo. I'm so happy for Phoenix, and they look amazing together. But they're going to have a very tough matchup in the second round with the Denver Nuggets, as we talked about before. Because we're going to get to this in a sec, but I don't feel like DeAndre Ayton played that great of a game. But shout out to the Phoenix Suns. They played great. And it's going to be interesting to see that series.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Devin Jenner getting it this far. They killed the Clippers. I mean, you know, we talked about this last show, Manny, but I'm disappointed in the Clippers. I thought also they were going to put up more of a fight. I get it. Your 2 guys are injured. I get it. You want to make excuses for your team, why they can't ever just advance to the finals for once in their life. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good because they just keep proving themselves to not be that team in LA. I'm sorry, guys, but anyone that hates on the Lakers and says the Clippers are better just because they win some regular season games, there's a reason why you guys win those regular season games, and that's because you guys can't win any playoff games or win a championship. Until the Clippers make it that far, I'm going to keep talking my smack on them because they deserve it. They deserve the street clothes comments made at them. They deserve the day-to-day comments made at them. They deserve the load management hate on them, because this is why the Clippers can never get that far into the playoffs, because they're just not that team.
No,
The
they're
Suns,
not.
don't get me wrong, I don't like the Suns either, but I will give credit where credit's due. They're a great team, and they've deserved every moment of like how far they've come into the series, and they have a pretty solid team. So that's going to be an interesting series to watch against when they go up against Denver.
Absolutely. And yeah, I totally agree. Me too. I'm never going to give that credit to the Clippers just because they still haven't done anything. They could have Inglewood. Downtown LA will always belong to the LA Lakers, the real kings of LA. Not that team that belongs in Anaheim. They should have just moved in Anaheim. I don't know why they had to build an arena where the Lakers had their old form. It's disgraceful, but that's no here nor there. Now the next series we gotta talk. Now the next series is, give you a bit of an idea. Shout out to the purple and gold. We made it to the next round. What a series that was. I said it was going to go to the distance. You said Lakers in 5. Aaron said Lakers in 6. By the way, shout out to Aaron. He can't be with us. He's in Seattle. But honestly, what a crazy series. After that game 5, Medina, I didn't have all that much hope that we were going to win just because we really sold that game in Memphis. But then you brought your good luck charm, Medina. You were at the game at game 6. And we just beasted it in that third quarter, and we won, and we gave Dillon Brooks that 40 that he wanted.
Hey. Oh my God, Manny, that was one hell of a game to be at. The crowd was wild. The Lakers played their best basketball. They came out determined to win. I mean, I knew, even though we lost in Memphis that day, looking at LeBron and AD's reactions, their face, they knew they were going to come back and destroy them at home. And that's exactly what they came to do. And I'm just so proud of this Lakers team because every single one of them just stepped it up Friday night. I mean, even though it was probably a low-scoring game for LeBron and AD, they showed up, and AD killed it on defense, and they just shut them down. You know, the Grizzlies, they came out talking their smack. They came out thinking they were going to beat the Los Angeles Lakers because why? They're the number 2 seed. That doesn't mean anything. When you can't show up on the court and prove your words with your actions, with your basketball skills, you have no right to talk smack. You have no right to act like you're it when you're not. Because the Lakers, they don't have to talk smack. They don't have to bring down any of their players because they show up on the court. They talk their smack with how they play basketball. And, you know, Dillon Brooks said he will respect LeBron. He will respect the Lakers when he has 40 points. But the Lakers blew them out by 40 points exactly on Friday night. So, you know, you got what you deserved. You talked your smack, and you got your karma right back in your face, and you can't even own up to it. You can't even congratulate them. You have no respect whatsoever, and therefore, with that attitude, you're never gonna win a championship. So until you clean up your act and you give respect where it's due and give credit where it's due, because the Lakers, they deserve to win that series. They played their hearts out. They showed up. They killed it on defense. And you know what, Manny, just to get a little bit ahead of myself, they play the way they did on Friday. They come out with that determination. We are easily going to win the Warriors in 6 games. But we'll get to that in a bit.
I love that bold prediction. I have the Lakers winning the Warriors as well, but back to what you were saying about Devin Booker. Not that Devin Booker, I mean Dillon Brooks. Sorry, Dillon Brooks.
Dillon Brooks, yeah.
Honestly, like, he was just way too corny. He thought he was all it. He talked way too much smack. Oh, LeBron is old. He can't go left on me. Lakers need to drop 40 on me to get my respect. And then you have John Moranta before the series started when when Malika Andrews from ESPN was interviewing him and saying, like, so what's the teams that you're looking at in the league? We have to go through them. He's like, Celtics. So she's like, nobody in the West? He's like, nah, I'm fine in the West. Yeah, you're totally fine in the West. you're in Cancun right now, bro. You're in Cancun, so I'm gonna guess. I mean, you're fine in the West. Maybe next year. Next year is gonna be your year. This year, no. But if you guys are a bunch of young kids talking all that smack, but I was actually watching the interview, the game we're gonna get to in a second, actually, right after we talk about the Lakers Grizzlies game. I was watching the post game of the Kings and Warriors game, and I heard Draymond Green's comments. He was actually giving a lot of the Lakers credit. He was saying, like, you know what, it's we can't take them lightly. They're a good team, and it's going to be a very good series. You can tell what teams in the NBA won championships, and you can tell which teams didn't win championships. The ones that win championships are the ones that leave it all on the court. The ones that don't, they just like to talk all that mess. And then we were talking about that before we went live, Medina.
Yep. Don't talk smack if you ain't gonna prove yourself on the court. It's easy to talk smack, but it's not easy to play like the way LeBron, the old man that killed you guys. Yeah. He doesn't need to talk smack about anyone.
Yeah.
He just kills them on the court.
That ageless wonder can still get it done. And the final series we got to get into for the East, not for the East, I mean for the first round, is a series that actually ended today in the Warriors and the Kings. Medina, what a game that was! Before the third quarter actually started, it was actually pretty close, and then a man named Stephen Curry that we all know about literally put the game away and scored 50.
Literally,
like he is just like. The way I look at the NBA from watching it for so many years, there's three guys that you never ever count out. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
As long as those three guys are in the playoffs, you never ever count them out. So that's why even though the Warriors have a very bad road record for the whole season, I knew it all along. I wanted the Kings to win just because I thought it was going to be an easier matchup for the Lakers because they're young and inexperienced. But I knew deep down in my heart that the Warriors were going to take that series in 7 or 6. But they ended up taking it in 7, and they played very, very well. The Splash Bros did not even shoot that well from 3. That's what's insane about them. They could still get it done. Bill Brooks is talking about old guys. Lucky didn't go to face off against the Warriors because they would have probably done the same as the Lakers. Because those old guys too can play. But also there's another guy besides the Splash Bros that I got to talk about, and that's Andrew Wiggins. I'm so happy that he's healthy again. Last year, he was fully healthy, and they won a championship. And this year, he's actually been their third best player. And I love watching Andrew Wiggins play. And people want to say he's a bust of a first overall pick, but ever since like the past 2 years, he's actually found his groove again. And I love to see that about Andrew Wiggins. He even had 7 rebounds along with 17 points. But shout out to the Sacramento Kings. First time making the playoffs in God knows how long. And they actually pulled up a great fight. Even though they lost by 20 today, they pulled up a great fight and they actually brought this series to 7 games. Domantas Sabonis played exceptionally well. De'Aaron Fox played well. Keegan Murray, first-year rookie, played very well. But one guy that I'm very impressed with also, a lot of Laker fans know him from last year. Sucks we couldn't bring him back because we had the Westbrook contract. Malik Monk.
Yes.
Who was, by the way, the best scorer in the playoffs off the bench. He really took a stride in the playoffs. But Medina, basically, like, what's there to say about the Sacramento Kings? Like, even though they lost, mad respect to them for making the playoffs finally and bringing it to 7 games.
Mad respect to them for making it this far. Mad respect to taking the Warriors, the defending champions, to Game 7. I was rooting for them, Manny. No hate to the Warriors. Love that team, too. Excited to face them in the playoffs. But I really wanted the Kings to win, not just because it would have been an easy matchup for the Lakers, but because, you know, I wanted to see them and take down the Warriors. I wanted them to have that confidence in themselves to make it this far into the playoffs, you know, after the drought that they had for so long, not making it into a playoff series, but into a playoff series for a while. But yeah, I mean, they played great. They did well. Unfortunately, Warriors were just a better team at the end of the day. The old guys are the wise guys. They're the experienced guys. I mean, if you going up against Steph Curry, that's not easy. But the fact that you were able to take Steph Curry into a game 7 and you almost won, but then you choked, unfortunately, like, it's fine. Like, give yourself some credit. Come back stronger next year, and you might just win it all. Like, I'm not counting the teams out right now. They just have to learn from their mistakes from this series. But I wouldn't be surprised if they make it again next year. But yeah, shout out to Steph, man. He, like, the Warriors. The Warriors had, like, they were in a drought too. The first half they were playing, like, they just weren't, like, making their shots. They're not a great team on the road to face. And I know a lot of people are scared about the Warriors playing against the Lakers, but honestly, I felt like both teams, no matter who won today, I feel like both teams would have been a challenge in its own way to face against the Lakers. And I'm not too worried about whoever goes up against them, just because of the way, like, they played great basketball. But I just feel like the Lakers here they're the better team. I feel like they have more of a chance to beat the Warriors. And I could be wrong, but, you know, just watching the Warriors play, I just feel like we have more of the advantage here. I mean, it's dangerous when Steph gets hot, but, you know, I still feel like on like the defensive perspective, I feel like we're the better team, and that's what's going to shut them down. I don't think they're going to make it past round 2, and that's just my opinion on
that. I like that prediction, and honestly, I agree. The Sacramento Kings, they will definitely be back here next year because that team is oozing with young talent. And think about if they actually make a trade for a shooting guard to pair up with De'Aaron Fox, then I think the Sacramento Kings are going to be contenders in the Western Conference if they do that. But now, let's start with the second round. Can't wait to get into this, Medina. A series that actually started last night. I was actually out last night, but I saw a bit of the game. The Nuggets and the Suns. Now that was an interesting game. Mind you, it was pretty close at the first half, but then the second half, the Nuggets just went off. They actually played amazing, though. Nikola Jokic, what's there to say about him? He had another double-double, 24 points, 19 rebounds. Jamal Murray, we talked about him before. He played outstanding last night. 34 points, 9 assists, and he shot 6 for 10 from 3. He played outstanding. I'm so happy to see Jamal Murray healthy again, like we said before. But obviously, the Phoenix Suns, even though they got blown out by 20 points, their starters actually looked really good as well. I talked about Kevin Durant and Devin Booker being a great 1-2 punch, and they showed it last night, even though they lost. Kevin Durant had 29 points, 14 rebounds, and Devin Booker had 27 points and 8 assists. Didn't make a 3 though, but he took 1 attempt. Don't you know there? I think if he would have made some threes, they probably would have been a lot closer. But my prediction, Medina, this series, I think it's going to be Nuggets in 6. What do you think about this series?
I think, you know what? I think it's going to be Nuggets in 7. Phoenix is going to come back. Don't count Phoenix out. I feel like this is going to be a long series. It's going to go back and forth between these two teams. And, you know, I didn't have the chance to watch the game last night, unfortunately, but I did catch Kevin Durant's post-game interview talk, and even he said it himself too, like, because I think the interviewer asked him a question of, like, are you surprised by how good, you know, the Denver Nuggets are playing? And he was like, no, I'm not surprised. Here, like, realistically speaking, like, they are the better team, so it's like, it's not going to be an easy challenge to go up against them, so don't count them out. And, you know, the Nuggets have always been a great team. It's just unfortunately, like they just didn't have a healthy roster, but now that they have it, they have a big chance of making it to the finals this year. And I really feel like that's the biggest competition in the West, and a lot of people are not giving them credit for how far they've come and how well they've been playing. I mean, they have Jokic, they have Jamal Murray, they have a great team. They have a solid team, and I think that they can take it in 7. Just because Phoenix Suns, they're a good team too, and they have Durant and Booker, like you said, they play so well together. I don't see the series ending anytime soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 7-game series without a doubt. because I think these two teams are really, really good, and the West is so wide open, Medina. Like, I don't even know who's even going to make it to the finals this season. I want to see the Lakers because it's a bias thing for us, but honestly, to be realistic, it's so hard to know who's gonna make the West.
It's hard, yeah. Every team is just, they're playing so good that it's just a shocker this year. Like, and like, you just didn't think these teams that are in the playoffs would have made it this far, or would have lost so early. It's like, I don't know. Our predictions are like everywhere right now. Like, there's only so much you can predict and be right about, right?
Absolutely, so true. It also brings us to another game that happened earlier today, actually. The Knicks and the Heat. Now, this is a series that a lot of people are saying the Knicks are going to take it. I'm one of those people that says the Knicks are going to win in this series in 6. But the thing is, do not count the Miami Heat, because Jimmy Butler, Medina, that man's been on a mission this whole playoffs. And he's the reason why they pulled off the greatest upset in NBA history as an 8 seed, beating the possible title favorite Milwaukee Bucks. But Jimmy Butler, tonight, like we said before, he didn't have the greatest game in the world, but he still shot 8 for 16 from the field, and he still had 25 points. But really, there's one guy who, in my opinion, I said this in our Ultimate Sports Show chat, actually, on Twitter that we have, our private chat that we have. I was saying that Gabe Vincent, along with Caleb Martin, have to be one of the most underrated players on the Miami Heat. And Gabe Vincent showed out tonight. He knocked down 5 threes, and he had 20 points. I think this is one of his first games that he actually started in, which is actually incredible. And Bam Adebayo, of course, 8 rebounds, 16 points. But on one guy who we're very familiar here in Canada with, Kyle Lowry off the bench, played outstanding. See, Dylan Brooks, another old guy that showed out in Kyle Lowry. He had 18 points, and he had 6 assists, 5 rebounds, shots 3 for 6 from downtown. He played outstanding as well. And the New York Knicks, of course, that MSG crowd, Medina, is insane. Like, it's probably very comparable to Staples. Not crypto, by the way, Staples. It'll always be Staples forever. But, yeah, it's been insane. RJ Barrett and Jalen Brunson played great in Julius Randle's absence. Hope he gets healthy. But Medina, what are your predictions, basically, for that series? Do you think Miami is gonna take that series like they did Milwaukee, or do you think the Knicks are gonna actually close it out at the Garden eventually?
I mean, I kind of said this a little bit earlier. I touched base on it, but basically, I want the Knicks to win. I'm rooting for the underdogs to win. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like Miami want it more. Like you said, Jimmy Butler didn't have that great of a game today, but imagine if he did. I feel like they would have destroyed the Knicks even more. Mm-hmm. And he's going to keep showing up every game. He wants this. He wants this bad. I don't think the Knicks are going to get swept, but I do think it's going to at least go to a game 5 or 6. Miami Heat are going to take it, though. As much as I want the Knicks to win it, realistically speaking here, I think the Heat are just the better team.
And they're more deep as well. And they have so much to prove. As an 8 seed, as a play-in tournament team, that they, like you said, they wanted more because they have so much to prove. And the thing with the bubble, there's a reason why it does count. Sorry, other NBA fan bases, but it does count because look at the Heat and look at the Lakers as low seeds, and they're healthy. Because the other years, we don't count them because they weren't healthy. These years, they're healthy, so that's why this is how you know the bubble was not a fluke.
Yep.
The Heat are fully healthy, and the Lakers are fully healthy, and look what they are freaking doing in the playoffs. And I am so proud, not only in my Lakers, but even the Miami Heat, just because a lot of people counted them out, and they were calling them for losing that Game 7 last year in the conference finals. But now, let's get into the 2 series that didn't start yet, that are going to start Monday and Tuesday. First, we're going to start off with Philly and Boston. Now, that series is going to be epic, like I said before. Joel Embiid versus Jason Tatum. Sucks Joel Embiid's not going to be healthy that series, but it's going to be so hella interesting, especially that those two teams had a lot of playoff matchups back in the 80s when there was Dr. J and Larry Bird. So now our generation's finally going to see those two in the playoffs again, and it's going to be so hella interesting to see. Of course, there's a lot to talk about with guys like Joel Embiid and Jason Tatum. But let's talk about the sidekicks, actually. James Harden and Jaylen Brown. Those two shooting guards are going to be the X factors in the series. What do you think about that, Medina?
It's going to be one heck of a series for sure. This is my prediction. It's going to go to a game 7. Mm-hmm. It's going to go back and forth. One day with Boston winning, the next game Philly winning. It's going to go back and forth. That series is going to be. Man, I would hate to be a fan of theirs right now, because that's going to be the most like anxiety. I feel like it's going to be like basically the Kings and the Warriors, but in the East this time. So I'm looking forward to watching those games, because I think that's going to be a challenge for both teams for sure. But the Laker fan in me is going to say Philly in 7. What do you think, Manny?
I definitely agree.
Yeah?
Philly in 7.
Philly in 7.
I would have said Philly in 6 if Embiid would be healthy game 1.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's going to be in 7, because without Embiid, it's going to be very tough for them to guard the paint, because Time Lord Robert Williams, just to see him in the paint, it's going to be tough for Philly to stop him without Embiid. But if Embiid was healthy game 1 tomorrow, I feel like Embiid would be able to block him no problem.
Yeah.
And now, the series we saved the best for last. Basically, in my opinion, it's going to be the marquee. I don't know if it's going to be the best series in the second round, but it's going to be the most marquee series of the second round. And I know the NBA is so happy to get this. The Lakers side of me, not too thrilled we got the Warriors, but I know the NBA is excited to get this, because Steph Curry and LeBron James, as an NBA fan, who doesn't want to see Steph and LeBron in the playoffs again? We saw it so many years with Cleveland and Golden State, and now the Lakers and the Warriors. We're going to have that series, the Splash Bros against LeBron and AD. What are your predictions, Medina? My prediction, that series is going to be Lakers in 7. What about you?
It's going to be Lakers in 6 or Lakers in 7, for sure. And also, like, kind of like what I said about Philly and Boston, I feel like it's going to go back and forth. It's going to be one game the Lakers are going to take, the next game the Warriors are going to take. It's going to be anxiety-inducing for us. And like I said about the other teams too, it's going to be hard being a Laker fan, because it's going to be a lot of stressing. It's going to be a lot of crying, a lot of sleepless nights, but not to sound dramatic, but yeah, it's going to be one heck of a ride. It's not going to be easy, Manny. It's going to be one of our biggest challenges for sure in playoff history. That's my opinion. But you know what, Manny? Even Steph said it himself. You know, I respect the Warriors team so much. Maybe not their fan base, but the Warriors themselves. Like, they give so much respect to our team. Like, those guys don't shit talk. They show up on the court and they play their basketball. And that's how they show us. They're going to show us who's the better team, the Lakers or the Warriors. And Steph said it himself today after the Kings game when he was being interviewed. He said the Lakers, since the trade deadline, they haven't been the same. They've been a really good team, and that's going to be challenging for them. And they're going to have to make adjustments to their lineup to be able to play the Lakers, to be able to win against them, because they have all the right pieces that fit the puzzle now. The Lakers, don't sleep on them. Even if you are a hater, you have to give them credit where it's due and know that the Lakers are a good team. They won against Memphis 4-1. They won that series. Like, I'm sorry. Was it 4-1, 4-2? 4-2, I'm sorry. You know, I thought they were going to win in game 5. That's the Laker in me. But, you know, I thought that series, I feel like it could have been pushed to a game 7. But the Lakers were just a better team at the end of the day. Because why? Because we do have those experienced players. We do have the defense. We do have this, we're not a 3-point shooting team, but we can kill the Warriors in the paint. And something else that we have advantage of is that we're a good road team. I mean, we're better than the Warriors. So if the Lakers can win at least 1 or 2 road games, this series is ours, Manny. And I just feel like, personally, not to sound biased, I feel like the Lakers are the better team in this series. And we're going to see for ourselves. I could be wrong. My predictions could be wrong. But I'm open to whatever happens. It's gonna be sad if the Warriors do win for us, but it's just gonna show that they're probably the better team at the end of the day, and they want it more than we do. But we're gonna see it in this playoff series, and it's gonna be exciting to watch. It's gonna be exciting how both teams make adjustments to see how to play against one another. But yeah, definitely, it's gonna be an exciting series to watch. It's not for the faint-hearted, but. Here we go.
Absolutely. Here we go. Get your popcorn ready. It's going to be interesting. But my biggest X factor in that series is your man's Anthony Davis.
Yes.
Because
AD, baby.
AD baby. That's right. But also the reason why I say that is because if you look at the rosters, I'm glad you brought up the depth of both rosters. The Lakers have better depth, like you said.
Yes.
But the thing is, the front court. I feel like the Lakers are taller. If Mo Bamba and Tristan Thompson play that series, no doubt Lakers could even take it in 5 or 6, in my opinion. But we saw what Anthony Davis did the last game against the Warriors, where he dropped 39, 8, 6 with 2 blocks and 56% field goal percentage. If we get that AD in this series, Warriors are going to have zero chance of beating us, especially in the paint. We just have to guard the 3. And in my opinion, if Steph Curry has the ball, Darvin Ham probably not watching this, but if he is, I got to issue an apology to Darvin Ham, honestly. I feel like I was way too hard on him the last show because of how Game 5 went. But Game 6, he made great rotations. He actually put Wenyen Gabriel in as our 4. But Darvin Ham, again, sorry what I said, Darvin Ham, but the thing is, if you're listening to this, which you're probably not, you have to put Austin Reeves on Steph Curry. If you put Austin Reeves on Steph Curry's going to have a nightmare shooting the ball because Austin Reeves is a guy who is going to get right in your face and talk.
He's not afraid to, yeah.
On the court. So that's my opinion. I think they're going to do it. I can't wait to watch all these games in round 2. I am super excited. Medina, any final thoughts before we wrap up the show?
No, that's pretty much it. I think we got it all covered. I think we let out our excitement and gave our best predictions. And yeah, we just have to wait and see what happens next. But we'll be here to talk about all of it. Right, Manny?
Absolutely. Can't wait to see you guys the next show. Shout out to Aaron also that he's not with us, but he's probably definitely watching from Seattle. And can't wait to see you guys the next show. Peace.
Peace, guys.